As an operation manager, you oversee a massive space, in Chinook Mall with 252 stores, restaurants, a lot of unique features in them. Can you share what your day-to-day life of managing a property of that scale looks like?
There's so many facets. Sometimes you're in the office, you're out on the floor, and now this comes up, and now you got to go attend this, and you got to look at that. So it's very busy. I like that because it's not boring. I never know what I'm going to walk into sometimes.
With such diverse mix of retailers, from luxury brands to popular mid-range stores, how do you balance the needs of different tenants?
It goes back to cultivating exceptional places and experiences for all our stakeholders, no matter who or what. We want to work with all of our tenants to provide the best service and experience we can and achieve the best solutions. It's really important too to know what the tenant needs are, what they're asking, inquiring about, to be able to answer or respond appropriately. The other thing too is we want to ensure the building is a very safe and clean place for everyone, including the back of house operations. For all of our clients, we want to put an important focus on the maintenance and the cleanliness in those areas. So we do a lot of work in performing regular checks and maintenance in the back of house. We definitely don't want to forget about those areas.
Welcome to the Mastering Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Sarbit. Join me as we delve into candid conversations with industry experts to uncover their strategies and insights for achieving success in property management. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, let's elevate your property management skills together. Hi, everybody. I'm Jared Sarbit, and this is Mastering Property Management. Today, I have the honor and privilege of having Mikayla Neustaedter on, the operations manager of our favorite mall, Chinook Mall. With Cadillac Fairview. Mikayla, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Mikayla, let's get right into it. Tell me about Cadillac Fairview and specifically about the mall that you're the operations manager at, Chinook Mall.
Cadillac Fairview is a Canadian company that has 62 landmark properties across Canada that aims to transform communities in a responsible way. Chinook Centre currently has just over 1.2 million GLA in square feet. And, it's said that Chinook Centre is located a short 15-minute drive for nearly half of all Calgarians, which is quite remarkable. And just over about 252 stores altogether and 563,000 CRU square feet. So just over that. Chinook Centre is one of North America's most productive shopping centers, which is something to brag about at this point. And it does have one of the top performing food courts in Canada, which is quite amazing. And along with its history, Chinook Centre is a city within a city, if you can call it that. It's become a landmark within Calgary, within the history of Calgary, within the culture of it as well. And since the beginning, it's always been at the forefront of things and constantly thinking of what the next great idea can be. What could we do next? What could we build? What could we do? What will increase shopper experience? All of that.
Yes, amazing. Very cool. And you're absolutely right. It is such an iconic mall and has gone through, in the 20 plus years that I've lived here, has gone through quite the transformation. But even when I moved here, everyone knew Chinook Mall. It was an iconic mall then and it has continued to progress and is still an iconic mall today. So tell me a little bit about what got you into operations in the first place in the commercial real estate industry. What are some of the major milestones along the way in your career path? And how did you reach the current levels of success that you're at today?
Well, I would say to begin with, I couldn't have done it without my parents' support and encouragement along the way. If I have to go back to the beginning, they both taught me a very deep sense of a hard work ethic and perseverance from the beginning in everything we did. My mom has a strong and hardworking tenacity that would shock the farm boots off anyone. And my dad has a hardworking, creative, out-of-the-box way of thinking that would surprise the most spontaneous person out there. So in combining that, I didn't really know where or what I was going to do. My dad, with his business, he would often take me out on repair jobs for residential and commercial properties over the years when I was younger. So I got to see firsthand how things are built, how they're put together, how they're repaired. I got to work alongside him on the tools to see what that was like. So it was a little bit interesting. I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to do after high school, but I ended up deciding to go into architectural technology at SAIT. It was an incredible and perfect learning experience for what I do now. I learned how to read and draw drawings, AutoCAD, Revit, BIM, all of that. So residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. Learned so much, like Canadian, Alberta building code, fire codes, bylaws, regulations, reading and writing specifications, project management, estimating and quotes, scheduling, and proposal development. The other really important thing too that I learned at that time was building science and building assemblies and systems. So how they work, what are they made of, and why and how are they built? Like our value with commercial residential systems, type of materials, vapor barriers, details, like looking at all of those intricate parts of how buildings and structures are built and why. Also engineering. We did calculations on load-bearing structures and weights and how they work and how the calculations are made. So this created such a broad and great technological background for me to create a foundation for what I do today. I found I really love project management. I tried to get into the new program at SAIT because at that time when I was graduating, they were wanting to start a post-diploma degree, project management. And they were wanting to have it start on that September, and I was going to, but they didn't get it fast enough with the instructors and the program and the curriculum. So I think it actually got delayed a year, but I didn't want to wait. I just wanted to keep doing the school and keep going. So I had seen their SAIT was housing the University of Lethbridge offsite campus for their management program into business faculty. It's now since been located at Bow Valley downtown. But when I had seen that, I instantly applied for it because I knew I wanted to do management. This was what I was going to do. So I applied for the management degree program, and I was to start that September after graduating SAIT in the spring. And so it was, I didn't plan it this way. I didn't really think about it. I just felt like that's what I wanted to learn. That's what I wanted to do. And it was perfect to join that architectural and technological side to the advanced level of business and management study. So that's where it brought in economics, HR, accounting, finance, marketing, sustainability. So that was really, really great on that side of it. Worked really hard. I worked while taking full-time school at the same time. Graduated with a bachelor of management degree with a minor in corporate social responsibility. So that was really great. And then through somebody that I knew, I got a job quickly after graduation at Flynn Canada in commercial roofing industry. So I wanted that experience right away. I get on board, start getting some, on job experience. So I started off as a service coordinator position. So service calls, estimating, quoting jobs, projects, going out on site, seeing what they do. How does this get built? What are the products, the materials? Coordinating service crews. Like there was so much. It just was a whole new door that I opened and just discovered all of that. I gained a lot of experience quickly and stacked up when it was needed to oversee the department, managing crews, service calls, and projects. It was a lot of work, but I was eager and wanted to accept the challenges. One of the years, there was a big national project that was going on where Flynn had accepted to do the re-roofs for a lot of the Shell gas station roofs across Canada. So Calgary had quite a few of them, and our service department was elected to do that. So I had to, that year, figure out and manage and quote and do the whole thing, like the whole gamut of replacing those roofs while still completing all of the service department work. We also had a Lafarge. So by going out to Banff, there's a Lafarge, a concrete power plant or concrete plant. And one of the roofs was getting replaced. So our service department was doing that at the time. So it was a very, very busy year. So that just skyrocketed my, how I needed to step up. Yeah. So that was incredible. And then I had an opportunity come up at Chinook Center, ironically. And that's just kind of where it began from there. There was a skills and expertise that I could offer, and then continued opportunities for future growth. Now I've been Chinook for 10 years, and Have since taken many technical and property management courses and training over the years to continue to build my expertise and experience. And again, it wasn't intentional at the beginning or plan, but looking back now, I really see how bringing the technical side together with the higher level managerial study has really given me a deep understanding of managing teams, managing projects, and a building and property.
Amazing. Wow, that's a great background, and clearly you're someone that is eager to learn and meticulous and always looking to develop. Tell me a little bit about the qualities that you would say have gotten you to this position. Your personal characteristics that are Mikayla's real strengths.
I think there's a lot of variety. I think perseverance, like when the going gets tough, you keep pushing through. You don't give up. That just determination, just attentiveness, attention to detail, especially when it comes to problem solving and looking at drawings and what can we do that's different. And a lot of times, especially in project management, it's the details that will get you later on. If you don't pay attention, if you don't think about sometimes those small things, those can become larger things later on. And just initiative, thinking about new and creative ways to make improvements and dependability, I would say as well.
Amazing. Yeah, you could see it. I've met you a couple times now. Specifically, I was moderating a panel with BOMA that you were on the panel, and you could just see the thoughtfulness that you put into your answers and the amount of detail that you went into. It was very clear to me that you're the type of person that does not cut corners, is super meticulous, and make sure those little details are all covered. So that makes a lot of sense. Very good. As an operation manager, you oversee a massive space, in Chinook Mall. I believe you said 1.2 million square feet. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
With 252 stores, restaurants, a lot of unique features in them. Can you share what your day-to-day life of managing a property of that scale looks like?
It's busy. Spontaneous, on the fly. Though sometimes you go with the flow, you have to. You can't really plan your day as much as you kind of want to just say, oh, this is my perfect day. This is my agenda. This is what I want to do today. It just blows up. It's never that. There's so many facets. I mean, sometimes you're in the office, you're out on the floor, and now this comes up, and now you got to go attend this, so you got to look at that. So it's very busy. I like that because it's not boring. I never know what I'm going to walk into sometimes, for anything. And there's so much on an operational level that I'm involved with and I have to know about and that we need to take care of. Whether that's being out on the floor and supporting our operations team, so important on a daily basis, and what they need and what the property needs, regular maintenance activities that are being completed and looked after, right? From all your service agreements that need to be taken care of, and is this being looked after, and what about this and that, and projects, so many projects all the time, right? Projects, jobs, small, large, all of that. Again, service agreements, your base building contractors, checking in, what's happening, preventative maintenance, a lot of audits all the time, regularly, health and safety. So that's a lot there. And then assisting tenant and specialty project managers with operational concerns and questions. So it's, again, going back to knowing your building. How is it being built? Like what is happening? What's going on? What are some things that might affect other people down the road that you need to know about, or what that looks like? And then supporting other departments like security, guest services, marketing, leasing, whatever that looks like, to be able to, because operations just plays such a big role in all of it.
Right. Yes, I can imagine. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's that sounds like a lot of fun, a lot of work, but I imagine it's an adventure every day.
For sure.
Yeah, very, very cool. Chinook Center consistently ranks among the top malls in Canada by sales per square foot. I believe the last one I saw a report was fifth in Canada. I don't know if that's correct or not, but what are some of the key factors behind this ongoing success?
It's a big question, and if you don't mind, I have a little bit of a larger answer for it. That's a bit encompassing, but I think it does I've always called Chinook Center a patchwork quilt. The property has gone through so many evolutions, expansions, renovations to constantly improve and make it bigger and better. And so if you think about it, it combines history with a sense of modern sophistication. And I think it's sort of done that through its whole lifespan. Because I mean, if you look at its history, in 1947, Calgary's population hit around 100,000. And Chinook Center started, well, I can't say Chinook Center. It started with the Chinook Drive-In Theater. The opening night was May 12th of 1949. So that was really essentially the start of it. People still talk about that drive-in theater. And it's interesting if you think about it, the war was over and the economy was exploding. People were wanting to get out to do things, looking at different activities to do with their families or date night. That night, the opening night, Perils of Pauline was playing, with the Count of Monte Cristo taking the big screen the following week. An interesting fact, admission was only 60 cents at the time, with children under 12 admitted free. It was so popular. It was very, very popular. It was a new thing to do. And drive-in numbers peaked at close to 5,000 in 1958. And then the end of the 50s, more people had televisions and drive-in theaters became less popular. So from there was a vision by Mervyn Dutton, Reg Jennings, and Frank H. Kershaw to create the next vision, a shopping center that would change the way people shopped. They did a bunch of surveys to gather data, how they could be progressive and improve a customer shopping experience and what people wanted, because it was different. They were looking at new things. So they had a plan, and they created the beginning of a Chinook Mall on that south side of the property, which opened in August 17th of 1960. About $12.5 million was spent, 481,000 square feet, 40 acres. Woodward's, people still talk about this to this day, was the focal part of the mall. 1,500 jobs with about 45 plus stores as well. So this was very interesting. It was very new to Calgary. It was very new to people at the time because a lot of new ideas and inventions emerged. For instance, leading edge cash registers that could do anything but talk. Dry cleaners were a new thing at the time. Even something as simple, we think about background music to the mall was a technological wonder at the time, right? So the Bowlodrome opened with 32 lanes. It was very popular, the country's largest bowling alley at the time. The Calgary Public Library opened in that same basement as well, which is interesting. It advertised good lighting, air conditioning, which was, again, new at the time, to add that extra comfort. Again, very new. People wanted to come. They wanted to experience this type of thing. In the mid-60s, it expanded to having some sort of theater, not the Cineplex that we know today, but a theater with the office tower that you see today. And it's completely enclosed because it was at the time built open. And this one, they roofed it over. They enclosed it. And then on the other side, on the north side of that property, Oxford built Southridge Mall or Southridge Shopping Center. And Stimson Sears went on the bottom with about 20 or so stores on the top. And it was escalators, again, a new thing. Stores were saying they had the best fashion, modern conveniences, customer conveniences. It was advertising that you don't have to shop downtown. You don't have to go downtown where it's traffic and there's congestion. All that, you can come down here where there's less traffic or easier to get to or faster, and you can have all your, fancy merchandise. So that was very interesting. And then there was some management change. So in the 70s, owners of Southridge Mall purchased Chinook Center. So it became Chinook Ridge Center. The name didn't stick. A few years later, they just changed it all back to Chinook Center, to what we know today, which is interesting as well. In the mid-80s, the drive-through road closed. So the main road just next to the Ped Bridge that you see today, it used to go all the way through. So that's where I was talking about the south part and the north part. That road did close at that time to connect the two malls. So that's what they did because they wanted the shoppers to be able to come back and travel back and forth and use now both sides. So then in the 90s, there was some evolving ownership where Andrea became owner and hired 20 Vic Management to oversee the redevelopment and leasing of Chinook. So it was at that time when a huge renovation and overhaul happened. So late 90s, about $300 million was spent. Huge. That's when the food court, they did so many things. That's where they connected all better. Like it was a lot. It was a big change. And at that time, so July of 2005, Chinook sales volumes per square foot touches the $700 mark, making it one of the top 3 malls in the country. And then again, here we go, expansion construction in 2010. So that happened. That's when they expanded that whole part of the new wing, often that's called the luxury wing. So that was a big development with a North Arcade as well, the enclosed heated one. And then in 2017, there was the Ped Bridge. So that allowed more safety for pedestrians crossing over McLeod, and then allowing better traffic underneath and, for efficiencies as well. So huge. And so as you can see through like my patchwork quilt example, that over the years, there's just been so much history where there has not really been a stagnant period of time. There's this constant evolution of change and what can we do and how can we make it better. And it's been like that since the very beginning through all the different owners and people that were managing it. It seems to have had this inspiration about it that people are motivated to keep going. And, location plays a huge factor in this as well. You're close to downtown, you're along the Siege line, you're right beside 2 very busy major arteries in Calgary, McLeod and Glenmore. Pretty central. And it's very easily seen and noticed. It's not something that you drive down a main road and you can't really see. No, it's right there. Merchandise too, right? Like leasing does such a great job and has historically too, but a lot of variety of stores, including a lot of luxury stores. So it's really hitting a lot of the different target markets there. So a lot of shopping, dining experiences. You got the professional tower, which has a lot of the medical offices. So like you got that as well. Again, bowling alley, the theater, as a real mix. So it draws a lot of customers from southern Alberta and surrounding rural areas, and a lot of tourism as well. The other thing, there's a couple other things. The other one is special events and promotions and being involved in the community. I think the center has done a really good job over the years doing that. One really great example of that is the Chinook Center Stampede Breakfast. It started in 1960, and it's quickly become the most popular stampede event one of the most popular stampede events in the city. So it can kind of range between 40 to 60,000 people, depending on weather or what's going on and that kind of thing. So that's a neat thing. It brings the community together. And again, being involved with Calgary Stampede and the culture of that and what that means to Calgary. And then I was thinking too, really, and so important, is the team and the department that really, the people make it an ongoing success. There are just so many details to manage and oversee. It's just not one thing. It takes everybody to collaborate, pull through together, delivering on commitments. And everybody who's involved with Chinook wants it to be the best.
Awesome. That's huge. Yeah. Amazing. Holy cow. That was a great history lesson of Chinook Mall. And I don't know what to do with that, but I'm going to ask my editors if they could package that in some way, because that needs to be shared with everybody, because that was really, really good. Thank you so much. I didn't know a lot of that. So, and I imagine a lot of people don't. And it's such a, like I said, iconic property. We need to know that. We need to know why it's there today. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Oh, of course. It really is so interesting. Like when you get down into the nitty gritty and the history
Yeah.
of it, and that really has played such a crucial role. It's not just a building that's been built within the last, 10 to 20 years. It's new. Yeah. It's a patchwork. It has that history. It's got its old with its new. And people still talk today, like I said, about the Woodwards and the drive-in theater. I remember that. I remember what that looked like. I remember what that felt like. I remember that fountain there. So you got that history with it.
Yeah, no, that is so cool. I want to. I'm kind of gonna mix my questions up a little bit because I think that this question is kind of prevalent to what you're speaking to. There's a time capsule at Chinook Mall, and very interesting. I've walked past that many times and didn't for a long time didn't know what it was, but it's right in the rotunda there. Right in that iconic middle section near the escalators. When you walk in, and it just recently turned 25 years old. And I believe it's set to, they're going to open it in 2,999. I know you can't tell me too much, but whatever you can share, with what, because I know it's a bit of a secret of what's inside there, but, what can you tell me about this unique gem in the mall?
That's very interesting. I love the idea behind it. And I was thinking 975 years left. I was trying to put that into generation time frame for my own self. That's like 32 to 39 generations. Like it's insane to think about that. What is life going to be like? What's this world going to be like at that time? So it's really incredible to fathom what that will look like, how far in the future, what life will be like, who's going to open it, what's going to happen to Chinook at that time. Are they going to take that time capsule? Is there going to be a big renovation? Is they going to take it out? Are they going to put it somewhere? Where will it be moved to and where? How will it be? All these questions I'd love to know. I'd also love to know what people would think about the items that are in there. Would they know instantly, or would they say, "Oh, I've never seen this," or "We kind of know"? It's maybe a mix of both or all of the above. But it is very interesting. And there are some popular items in there that are iconic to Calgary. And it was put together like 80s, 90s items, commonly used seen objects like a VHS, CD, things like that. That, again, what are people going to think about that in 975 years?
Those things are already outdated. My kids don't even know what they are. Yeah, that's so cool. That's so neat. Do you think a lot of people realize that it's there? Or do you think most people just kind of walk past it? And what's your experience? Do a lot of people talk about it?
Yeah, I say it's a mix. I think a lot of people do walk, they maybe not know or see or realize what that maybe is.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of people actually stop, take a look at it and take photos. And, when you could tell when they're actually reading it and what that actually means. So
yeah, it's such a conversation piece. I won't walk through that mall the same way ever again now that I know about it. So, yeah, very cool. With such diverse mix of retailers, from luxury brands to popular mid-range stores, how do you balance the needs of different tenants?
Yeah, it goes back to cultivating exceptional places and experiences for all our stakeholders, no matter who or what. We want to work with all of our tenants to provide the best service and experience we can and achieve the best solutions. It's really important too to know what the tenant needs are, what they're asking, inquiring about, to be able to answer or respond appropriately. Even on an operational level, we say to our team all the time, like, it's so important, like, having those conversations. If they're asking you about the HVAC or, the repairs, and answering them promptly and as well as possible. It's so important, even when it comes down to those details, those little things that seemingly may not be important, but they're very important, especially to our clients. The other thing too is we want to ensure the building is a very safe and clean place for everyone, including the back of house operations. And so for all of our clients, we want to put an important focus on the maintenance and the cleanliness in those areas. So we do a lot of work in performing regular checks and maintenance in the back of house. We definitely don't want to forget about those areas.
Awesome. That's great. Very good. How does Chinook Mall incorporate sustainability and environmental initiatives into its daily operations?
Hugely.
Yeah.
It plays an integral role in the real estate strategies to ensure continued success. There will always continue to be an expectation and significant growth throughout the years in this way. CF has a Green at Work program, is what we call it. And it's gone through a few versions over the last several years. But in essence, each property must have teams that focus on and achieve targets in one, climate action. So that's energy emissions reductions. Two, resource protection. So responsible use of resources and waste, water, and land. And three, well-being. So real estate wellness trends and indoor air quality. So we do this for many, many reasons, bringing a revitalized approach to operations, minimizing risks and maximizing returns, underscoring commitment to reducing environmental impact, meeting our stakeholder expectations, creating better spaces for clients and occupants, enhancing asset values, and just reducing the global impact on the community and the world. And so each CF property participates in those different areas, and the initiatives and the guidelines are provided, and there's benchmarks that we have to meet. You know, we want to reduce this much electricity by this year, this type of thing, right? So those type of targets initiate energy studies, which then initiate capital projects. So, you know, some examples of that are LED replacements. It's ongoing, right? For a big property like this, we're still working on that. Installing our CHP cogeneration units to supply electrical power and provide free heat as the byproduct and heat recovery in our mechanical systems. We did the solar panels in 2022, 2023, and water conservation. So it could be as day to day as just, you know, replacing and with low flow fixtures. To in 2013, 14, we installed a rainwater harvesting system. So it collects rainwater from both 4 different roof area drains, collects it into a retired cooling tower concrete basin. So we were able to repurpose that instead of demolishing it. And now it's been collecting rainwater every year. And it either gets used for exterior irrigation on the west side of the property during the landscaping summer months, or supplying cooling tower makeup throughout the year, depending on how much snow and rain that comes. So these are just some of the initiatives that have come from those targets, come out of those mission statements. Composters, we have 2 composters on site, and having the waste diversion in the dining hall and loading docks has been a part of that as well.
Amazing. Are you quite involved in implementing all these initiatives over the years? Is it you know, like do they come to you with the idea and you implement, or what does that look like from your perspective?
It's a bit of everything or everybody. We can come up with ideas. Us operations manager back at the time in 2013, 14 came up with the idea for the rainwater system. That was something that was initiated on the property to be able to help, like we had ideas. And other things come out of energy studies, like when we have consultants reviewing the data and looking at how we're performing and saying, hey, you know, when I'm looking at these numbers, this is what it's showing, and would be a good idea to do. So it really depends on what the work is, what the target is, and ideas, really.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys are really on top of it. So that's really impressive. Thank you. The closure of Nordstrom's in 2023 was significant. How do you and your team navigate this change, and what opportunities arose from this shift?
Yes, this brought a significant change, especially at the tail end there of the COVID pandemic. A lot of retail changes evolved during that period of time across the city in Canada. Leasing has been working diligently on this space and figuring out the best decision and what the plan should be for it. So while this is still in the works, CF is still committed to delivering inspiring and entertaining programs. So Mirror by Moment Factory opened February to end of May of 2024. It was an immersive art experience. It's one of a kind, original sensory experience where you could walk in and experience different things, whether it was they had light show and fogs and mirrors and all different things that would help with your or think about reality and imagination, and just take you to a different place. There's a huge amount of planning, development, and permitting and approvals required. There's an extensive amount of landlord work in order to accommodate the experience. Just one of the main reasons too was the fogging. So with the fire sensors. So that was a very interesting situation and how that was overcome. But it was incredibly popular and it did enormously well. People wanted to come just to check it out. And then again, do some shopping and eating and that kind of thing. Is like a family night out or a date night, whatever it was. People wanted to come and take a look at it. Since then, you might have heard Horizon at Khufu has opened just recently. It's a virtual reality experience. And it transports guests back to 4,500 years ago to the iconic pyramids of Giza in the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, whose pyramid still stands as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It opened on December 16th of 2024 and it's going to continue for some time now. It's a very creative idea to have customers come out and explore new experiences while shopping and going out to eat.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, my daughter and I did Mirror, and it was so cool. We had so much fun. I wanted to bring the other kids, but we missed it before they closed down. But yeah, she loved it, and definitely a unique experience that you can't get anywhere else. So very cool. So for the future of that space, is you're trying different. You're bringing in different concepts. Is that kind of the idea, or
For now, yeah.
For now,
This is the interim. This is the interim. They're still working on it. I think that's one thing that leasing and just the executives they want to have a plan, the right plan, and not just have something just put in there quickly. We got to get it, filled. No, let's figure out what the best plan and future growth for what we need, the economy is like, and what's happening with it.
Yes.
So this is just right now for what's happening in the interim.
Very cool. I know Chinook has always been a pioneer since the 40s. It's going to continue to, and so I'm excited to see how that space transforms. Are there specific technologies or innovations that have been game changers for managing Chinook Center?
This is such an interesting question. I was thinking about this, and I know there's so many different things, and I'll touch on a few good examples, I hope, here, because they're so different and it impacts so many different things. One example, and it wasn't always there when I first started, but since then it's become a thing, is the CF Connect call center. So that's where external and internal customers can call in or email or go through the portal to submit even a question, but usually like a work order or a service request. And it can even include janitorial cleaning requests and complaints. And our janitorial company actually has phones so they can receive the work orders as well and respond to it. So instead of having to come through our department and then we filter and then send it out, it goes through the call center. So that actually has helped us out a significant amount, being able to just alleviate that workload and have all of that still running in the background. And then we can work and assist in ways that we need to on a day-to-day basis still.
Very interesting. Sorry, just on that, can a guest at the mall go straight to the janitorial company and give feedback, or does it have to go through the operations team to get there? Or
if there is a cleaning complaint, there's actually signs in the washrooms that say, if there's a need, please, let us know. We have our guest services as well that can take concerns or compliments or what have you, the comments. Or vice versa. Some people just go, again, just straight to guest services because that's who they see or they come across or they remember.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. And there's more. It sounds like you have more. So.
Yeah. And then on another interesting level, so we had our food court reno a few years back, and all of the tenants needed to put in Halton Hood fans. And we had wood A-bed or grease trap systems installed. And I know this isn't necessarily, it's not a technology, but it is in that it helps substantially with the operations and the maintenance. Like everything was a lot cleaner, better filtration, a better operation, more contained, less messes. It works for such a high functioning facility. Even the grease trap systems that we have, there was a plan, a better layout for that. Double walled pipes with leak detection and what that all looked like. Huge. Just sometimes it's the design parts of it when you're doing a renovation, a construction, is what do we need and what is this going to look like? The other thing too is, so technology wise too, back in 2013, we had our whole building automation system upgraded and brought together. So it was a massive, massive undertaking, and it allowed the whole property to be put together under one system. So you had one place to go for checking on, temperature, control, lighting, scheduling, all that sort of stuff. So again, it's just on a day-to-day basis, you need that now, especially for sustainability and looking at where energy is going and how we can adjust that to make it better. And then too, on a retail level, is seeing how important even digital directories are to improving customer experience. Sometimes it's these little things, even smart parking sensors in the parkades to allow customers to improve their experience, reducing congestion, traffic flow. Also, on a design level, and I've come to appreciate, is being actively involved in contributing changes in architectural designs for renovations and construction projects that will accommodate maintenance and operational efficiencies in the future. I've been very involved with a washroom reno that we're having coming up here, and it was amazing to be able to contribute some of those ideas and the details where we can design best locations, for example, on where the best spots for clean outs would be, or access hatches, or even operational closets for replacement parts within washrooms. So when something goes down, it's readily and easily accessible for quick replacements and access, like on a day-to-day maintenance level. What does this look like? Being involved in the heart of the design process. Instead of having it all done, you get to it and you're like, oh no, what happened? Well, now we got to fix this on, now we got to shut the whole washroom down, or now we have to get guys in there to, so sometimes thinking about what those future issues could be, how are we going to solve, what are the efficiencies, and what can we do to make the design, it's the inherent design of the actual project, where the walls are, where the hatches, the doors, like really it's the details, and it goes right back to the beginning again.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. Thank you very much. With evolving retail trends, how are you preparing Chinook Center for the future of shopping and the experiential retail?
Well, there will still be lots coming up here. So there's a future development that's being planned across the street, so across McLeod, north of Home Depot there, where the Scotiabank building is. There's a square lot. It's just in the development permit approval phase at the moment. It's going to entail purpose-built rentals and consist of 2 buildings, each about 18 stories tall. Between the 2 buildings, there's going to be about 480, 500 units, all dependent on the final design. So pending all of that and any adjustments, that is, in the very near future, hopefully. There's also another project going on this year that's going to improve customer experience at the entrance between the Cineplex and the Chapters. A lay-by lane is going to be added to allow ease of drop-offs, including easier and designated parking for taxis, food service, drop-off vehicles. So it's going to allow less waiting vehicles along the ring road around the mall, and be able to kind of have that centered around that entrance that has the space for it. So again, just better experience overall and a proper spot for it. Another project, so I just mentioned, is so there's a new public washroom that's going up in the second floor of the north side of the mall. So that's again huge. So better shopper experience, so ease of location, so distance to where the next closest washrooms are. That's going to make a really big difference, it's exciting. And then on a operational level, continuing strong this year with more capital projects, maintenance initiatives. We're always trying to look to improve the shopping experience, whether it's like mechanical repairs or just replacements of lights and, tile and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Very good. Mikayla, what has been the most rewarding aspect of managing such an iconic property?
I really love being a part of the team and working alongside with so many talented people, fun group of people. That it's fun, it's exciting. Every day is different, so it feels like you're making a difference, and we want to make a difference. We all want to make improvements, whether it's the small things or it's really the really big things. We get excited about it. It's passionate about it. And I really do appreciate that CF. The company wants us to be open to change and new ideas. And what are you guys thinking? What do taking everybody's opinions and account. So what can we do here? It makes a big difference on a day-to-day level. And I see that with our operational team, whether it's the tools they use or how they repair or fix certain things, and what are the new ideas that they have that they think that they can make a difference and improve even their job or day-to-day or even customer experience or both. But listening to people and being able to gain different insights with everybody's different experiences is so important, and not shutting that down and closing that off. Just listening and working together as a team to do that.
Sounds like you have an incredible culture, and that's really powerful. What can happen when everyone's bought in and on the same page and wants to see the success of what they're working on, and that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that. For those that are looking to follow in your footsteps, what advice would you offer about managing large commercial properties and getting into the industry?
If it's something you're interested in, go for it. The industry is small. A lot of people know each other. So network as much as possible. Get to know people, even in uncomfortable situations. Push yourself. Meet as many people as you can. Introduce yourself. So important. And specific to operations, so from my background and experience, some recommendations I would have is, if there's any courses or training classes that are being recommended to you, take them. So important. It's just constant learning and growth. You're never done. Really what get your hands dirty too. Like, take some time to understand different trades you don't know very well and how things are replaced or fixed. It's amazing how just being able to understand that or know what it's about, you can understand better how estimates or quotations are being built, how long things should take, what's happening. It's very important, again, in my world on this side. Also, it's just really taking the time to absorb and learn about the property and building. What are you managing? Why was it built this way? What was the design intent? Are the needs the same, or are they changed? Often when you have this understanding, you have a much better path to problem solving and figuring out what the best path forward is. The other one is learning how to read drawings, whether it's architectural, electrical, mechanical, civil, details even. It will come in handy for when you least expect it. It surprises sometimes, at the most key or on the spot times to problem solve and make decisions, whether it's with consultants or contractors, just knowing what you're talking about or what you're looking at. And then just another day-to-day thing that I thought about was, again, keeping an organized record of all the operational and maintenance manuals and samples and boards that come from construction projects and renovations that happen, and that they're easily accessible and attained and not just shoved in a box somewhere and put in a closet or not to be looked at again. I find our operations team, it's just because the properties had so many of them over the years, and it's, what was that used again? What happened? What was that made? What was that color? What was the brand of that? What was the product? There's all these questions, and looking back on drawings, it's like, okay, we got to get this organized, and it's something that is frequently referenced, especially with Chinook. Things need to get replaced so frequently, or now we got to source this out, and what are we going to do here, and that type of thing. So that's important too, and maybe specifically more to a bigger property like this, where you do need, it's very important to have, because there's so many years where things have happened, and again, so yeah, important.
Great answer. Thank you. Assuming janitorial is one of your largest costs at the mall, from an ongoing perspective, what qualities do you look for, when you're looking for a janitorial company?
I've been very heavily involved with janitorial this, as long as I've been at Chinook. So it's very near and dear to my heart, actually. And the biggest thing that I look for is, does the service provider do the things they say they're going to do? It comes down to that. And after that, how well did they complete it? What was the quality? And has this been corrected going forward? Or is this something that was just a temporary fix, but the issue is going to crop up again, potentially? So it's just, are the promises being kept? Are the commitments being kept? Problem solving and finding creative ways to ensure it can be completed well, presently and in the future. We're not going to have to keep dealing with this on repeat.
Yes, I love that. That's a great answer. Is there more, or is that?
Yeah, the other thing too that I thought is, especially for Chinook and the experience that I've had is making sure that the property management team is going to provide an a good, healthy site walk for the RFP process. I mean, unless you're familiar with it or you kind of need to, but come, because, and I find this so important, and maybe it's specific to Chinook, but I imagine it's very similar to other areas as well. I tried to plan the most efficient route that takes us through a mix of unique aspects of the parkades and the stairwells and the basement, the back halls and the front of house. And then over the years doing that, people say, I didn't realize there was so much back hallways. I didn't realize there was so long, so much. Didn't realize in our parkades, I didn't know that there was this whole thing existing over here. You send maps and you send drawings and all this type of thing, but so it doesn't, like, it helps for sure, but being able to actually walk it, look at it, understand it, put your hands on it and say, oh, okay, this is smaller than I thought, or this is bigger than I thought. That can make or break a lot of different things, and how things are priced, the quality of the work that we would get afterwards, just a real understanding of what's needed.
Yeah, great answers. Yeah, no, it's so important. We often say, sometimes things do go wrong. Sometimes our cleaners might miss something or not do something, but it's how we handle it, right? And that's what can often separate one company from another, is the communication, the follow up, and the execution from that feedback and how it's managed. So no, that's really good. And then those RFP processes are super important. And you're absolutely right. Drawings can only give you so much. You need to get right in there and see it all. So yeah, great answers. Thank you for that. Now for the fun questions. Besides Chinook Mall, if you can manage any famous property in the world, what would that be, and why?
This was interesting. This is another interesting question, Jared. So I was thinking about it. I love oceans, snorkeling. I love warmer weather, learning new things. And something that's been on my bucket list, so combining all of that, would be the Georgia Aquarium.
Wow.
The prize. Yeah.
Very interesting.
The one in Atlanta. It's a nonprofit organization, and it supports the rescue and rehab of animals and research and conservation efforts in the marine world. It's more than 600,000 square feet, and it contains, I think, approximately 100 million gallons of fresh and salt water. It's a huge amount of water.
Yeah.
So that would be such an eye-opening experience to manage and be a part of a whole conservation initiatives that they do. I think it used to be the biggest aquarium in the world. That's been overtaken now since, but still, it's still amazing. There would be so much to learn, very different in ways. It has the front of house that, the most people would see, the public, but there would be so much to learn and see the back of house. Fascinating how the building is, the aquariums, the animal care facilities that they run and operate. What does that look like, from HVAC to specialized mechanical systems and processes, to preventative maintenance? How does that work? What happens? I know they have labs back there, like hospital rooms for the animals, loading areas. That would be incredible to see. And then just being able to walk alongside, talk to biologists, scientists, just watch what they do, support them in the day-to-day activities that they need to ensure that the facility runs as best as possible. It would just be a very fun and incredible experience, I think.
Wow, such a unique answer, but I love it. It's so cool. Have you been there multiple times, or have you
I've never
never
been there. One
never been?
day I will go.
Oh,
I will
cool.
take the kids. We'll all go as a family and we'll
Yeah,
experience it. I think they've got the tunnel that you could walk through with the
the
you can
water
see
above.
up into the aquarium above
Right.
you and beside.
Yes.
Yeah, just it's just
Very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. You got to go. You got to go.
Yeah.
Bucket list. Yeah. Very cool. And then finally, if you could recommend one book for your fellow, operation managers, property managers, what book would that be and why?
Also, a very good question, Jared. So I went to a women's conference several years ago, and I got here a book that has actually stuck with me over the years, interestingly enough. It's called Overwhelmed: Work, Love, and Play When No One Has the Time by Bridget Schult, I believe. So this was a very interesting book. As you know, so I'm a mom. I have two young girls, a family. It can be really hard being a very busy working mom. It's a very intense job to coming home, and what does that look like with spending time with the family and with the girls and having that work-life balance and finding that and being happy with that and that I've done what I can do. It's hard, it's challenging, but this book has been really good in being able to give some really good tips, advice, but also just assurance that we are human and we can only do so much, and knowing when to just let some things go and realize that, before kids that was really important, but now some things just, there's other things that are more important in life.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Really insightful. And, I'm a pretty good read of character. And, speaking to you, I can tell right away that you are someone that, like I said, like you're not going to cut corners, very meticulous, care a lot. So I imagine that's a challenge sometimes when you get torn in two different directions because you want to be perfect in everything that you do. So yeah, that sounds like a really good book for that. I'm sure a lot of people could use, especially with high achievers, like people like yourself, because we can only spread ourselves so far. So yeah, very good. Thanks for that. Thanks for that recommendation. That sounds really good. Good. And then finally, where can people connect with you if they want to reach out? I believe you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Is that the best place?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mikayla. You're a star. You have a great future ahead of you. There's no question about that. So thank you so much. I'm honored for you coming on, and I look forward to seeing where you are in the next 10 years in your career. So thank
Thank
you.
you, Jared. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Okay. Bye-bye.